Hey everybody, this is Mackie, and we're back with the Hidden Threads podcast. There's Victoria.
Whoa.
What is that called? Was it like
the wave?
The arm wave?
The arm wave.
I wish you could get down and do the worm.
I could.
Remember the worm?
It just gets crazier and crazier every time you clip to me.
Remember the worm? What now? I'm going to come over. Here we go. Ready? I'm clipping over to you. Oh, what is that one?
It's the whoa.
Is that some white person dance?
Yeah.
So, anyway, all right. Today we got a good topic, a different one. It's on just leadership in general.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying I'm the best leader, but I do focus in on it and try to get better. So you've been an employee at a few different places, Victoria.
Oh yeah.
What was lacking when you were working at these other places? What was most frustrating?
I've never felt like I had my boss ever tried to even get to know me and ask me what was lacking or what could get better. It's just like they're on a system that runs and it's working for them, so they don't even check in.
So you're just a cog in the wheel kind of thing? Yeah. So I got my notes behind me because we're running an extraction, so I'm gonna have to look over my shoulder to see my notes.
Yeah.
But so about the big trend in business now is create systems so you can step away from responsibility. That's what people are telling leaders to do. Mm-hmm. All right. Now, creating systems is awesome.
For sure.
You've got to have them to make things run smoothly. But people have to operate those systems. Right. And I try to get to know the people that work for me on a personal level. Now, if you're working for a gigantic organization, you're probably not going to know the CEO personally.
Right.
But you will know your frontline leader.
Supervisor or whoever.
All right. The problem with the system concept in America now, I don't know about Europe and other places, is they say, hey, their business leader, go create a system and then step away from your business.
Yeah.
Doesn't work. It doesn't. I've tried it and things fall apart. You've got to expect, but inspect. I think Ronald Reagan said that. Mm-hmm. One of the great presidents. Mm-hmm. But what I mean by that is so we got system that you run. You got our CRM. Mm-hmm. You're expected to do so many calls per day. And for 2 months, you and I were there together working through that. Yes. And you were learning, right?
Yes. Now,
I'm not on you every day checking the CRM to make sure you do calls.
Right.
But I do check in. All right. I can go in and see what your numbers, what you've called and how you've done it. Mm-hmm. Right. I do. And if I have a question about one, I say, Victoria, what about this one?
Yep.
And I'll even jump in and do something. Mm-hmm. And I'm not afraid to do that, to make a call, outbound call to say, hey, can we get some business from you?
Yeah, you took the time, though, with me to show me what you wanted and let me put my own little, however I, like to do it. You made room for that.
Yep.
And then you don't breathe down my neck the entire time, right?
After we get to a certain point, I say about 80% trained, I step away.
Yeah.
I say, Victoria, it's time for you to fish or cut bait. Right. Mm-hmm. I didn't say it that way, but I'm just going to see how you do on your own. And a lot of leaders these days, they say, well, I've got a system in place. If you can't figure it out, then you're not going to work here. Mm-hmm. Right. And they step away. They're not involved in the business. They're not involved in the system. And they just step away and say, yep, good luck. Right?
Yeah.
And if you make it, usually the employee quits. They're like, well, there's no engagement here.
Correct.
And they'll just quit because they want to be engaged. They want to know that they're part of something that's growing and creating something.
Here's a little tidbit because this is funny. I worked at I'll call them out, the Space and Rocket Center for a while. Mm-hmm. I quit because of that reason. They didn't even notice I quit till 2 months later.
Really?
And they said, where have you been? And I said, I've done quit 2 months ago. I turned my badge.
Wait, did they keep paying you?
No.
Oh, okay.
That's one thing. I'm off the thing. And it wasn't even my manager that hit me up. It was a girl that I worked with who was like, I haven't seen you in a little bit. And I'm like, that's insane. That
is kind of crazy. And that's a pretty well-respected organization in the area. But the system craze is going on. Create systems so you don't have to run your business anymore is a lie.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, you create systems to make things smoother.
Yes.
Right? The worst thing that ever came about in business recently in the United States is the book, The 4-Hour Work Week. I read it. Good book. Mm-hmm. The title is so deceptive, though. If you get into that book, that guy, I'm not going to call it the author here, but he gets into how hard he worked to get to where he had a 4-hour work week. That took 2 decades.
Right.
Almost 25 years. And so it's deceptive, the 4-hour work week.
It's like you're not going to do a little bit of work and get that. Right. Like it's never going to happen.
He gets into compartmentalizing your day. So, you got blocking out time for sales, blocking out time for marketing, blocking out time for operations, which I do that.
Yeah.
And so the title is so deceptive. It makes people think, and the picture on the book had people laying down at the beach hanging out with their businesses running behind them. And I saw an ad the other day on Facebook. Do you want to learn how to work from the beach? You can't. Now with technology today, you can step away.
Right.
We are rarely in a office setting, in a cubicle setting where we're grinding out, right?
Yes.
You're at home, I'm here. Sometimes we do come together and grind it out at an office space, but it's rare.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
We can talk on the phone. We do video stuff, emails, and we do come together and meet in person. I don't know how often we see each other. Twice a week, maybe.
Once, twice a week.
Yeah. Sometimes none.
Yeah.
Depends on what's going on. But we talk
all the time,
about 10 times a day.
Yes, absolutely.
About certain things. So
that get rich fast stuff is just not it.
It never works.
Yeah.
Victoria, this is not working behind me. We'll just keep it on. We're going to keep it on the camera too, because people can see how screwed up I am. I don't have a system for doing it. I need another computer, I guess, right?
We're working on it. We're getting better every time.
We have an extraction going on a device, and it's got my notes on it. So anyways,
we're double working.
And then I've used business consultants before, and they're all into this system craze right now. Well, you don't have a system for this. Yeah, we do. We do have systems for everything. It may not be written down right now.
Right.
Finding the time with family life, work life, and all that to sit down and write down every little detail about it's not going to happen. Probably not. Now I've got the big ones. They're in manual form or on video showing you how to do it. Right.
Yeah.
And the business consultants today, though, they just talk, they say systems. Well, how do I build it? They have no idea.
They're just preaching it. Yeah.
A lot of the consultants I've dealt with, they came from large corporations. They retired. And now they're talking to people who are startups or mid-level. I'm saying mid-level. You are past the startup phase. Okay. Mm-hmm. And they have no idea what's going on. They say, we got to have a system for this. That's all they talk about, systems. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm out of money this week. And they're like, whoa, well, that shocks them. They're like, well, how do you go get more money? Now, I know what we got to do. We've got to go grind and dig in our CRM and find that cash.
Yes.
People that are maybe holding up. What can we do to make a deal with them? Get them moving with a case or whatever's going on. Mm-hmm. Brian Tracy's one of the only consultants I've ever listened to or read that said it talks about the 100 call out of a slump. We haven't got into that, have we?
I've never heard that, but I'm like, I can like it.
You've done it, but you've done it. You didn't know you were doing it.
Yeah.
If you're having a cash crunch, you get on the phone, people you've done business with before or current leads, and you make 100 calls in one day. You'll see your cash flow. You'll come out of that cash hole pretty quick.
Yeah.
You've done it. You just didn't know it, right?
Right. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
But I've done it before and it works. Brian Tracy's excellent though. He's getting old now, but
but trying to compare a big corporation to a small company is kind of extreme.
Most of these consultants have never put their own money on the line and stepped out and started their own company other than their consulting firm.
Right.
Now they are retired typically from a large company. Mm-hmm. And they may get one or two clients a month in the consulting world, but they've never put down $500,000 of their own cash and said, let's make this happen. Right. They've never done it.
Right.
Or more. A lot of entrepreneurs put down way more than that.
Mm-hmm.
But they've never done it. And maybe I'll do that one day, Victoria. What do you think?
I think you'd be a great like business coach.
We might try it one day. What do you think?
I think that's a good direction.
Another stream of income.
Seriously.
But yeah, how much time were you looking at here? Oh, we still got time on the first part, Victoria.
Yeah.
We do 12-minute segments. I don't know if they realize that or not. Did you know it?
I don't even realize it. I just talk until you tell me to stop.
Until you were taking a break. A lot of entrepreneurs, though, I'm seeing today, we're in BNI, Business Network International. We get a lot of people come in and they start a company. And sometimes you'll see them go through BNI for 6 months to a year, and then they quit the business. And they say, I'm getting out of BNI because I quit. I went back to work. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, why? I always want to know why. Mm-hmm. They said, well, I couldn't get customers. I couldn't get people to pay me. And throughout the whole time they're in BNI, I'm with them every weekend. I don't know what they're selling.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
If I don't know what you're selling and I hear it every week, people just randomly on Facebook definitely don't know what you're selling.
Absolutely.
Or in the marketplace don't. So I think if we could get it honed down to what they're selling, they could probably do better, because they get your marketing message, your
people you're trying
your
to
goals,
target.
your mission, and all those things are lined up. If you say, here's what I'm going to sell, here's 3 or 4 items I'm going to start with, and we're going to work from there.
So what's your top 3 tips for small business?
All right. Top 3 tips. Number 1, narrow down what you're selling. I just got into that a little bit. You got to be able to project clearly what it is we are selling. What are we selling? A lot of the consultants say we need a mission, we need objectives and all this. Number 1, what are we selling?
Yeah.
What is it? I'd start out with one thing. Here's what I'm going to start this month selling. All right. And I'm going to know, they try to be too broad, right? I've met a travel agent, and she says she's a travel agent. And I get on her website, and she's selling stuff on Etsy. She's selling this. There's a little blurb in there about travel agency stuff. I'm like, are we a travel agent or are we selling perfume on Etsy?
Right.
Which one is it?
Yeah.
But we got to narrow down what we're selling. Now, if you have 2 companies, if you have an Etsy company, make it its own marketplace, its own website, apart from your travel agent. All right. You can make a lot of money as a travel agent these days, and do great things for people. But they got to know how to find you. And when they get to your website, it can be confusing.
Right.
So it's like coming into the store. If you go into Gap, right, you know what you're getting. Your clothes, right? What if you walked into Gap and they had farm equipment too?
You'd be like, what's going on?
It'd be confusing, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I'm getting at. You got to be super precise on what you're selling in the beginning. Now, as you go, you're going to broaden that and open up, but it should be relate to each other. Right? Number 2, what's your mission? What is your people say mission. That's kind of a lame word these days. Everybody says, I got a mission for this. I got a mission for that.
Statement.
Yeah. Yeah. But my thing is 10 years from now, what do you want the company to look like? What is your vision? How are you getting out of this? My thought on this, I've always looked at, is my company sellable? If somebody stepped in and looked at it, would they want to buy it? That's the vision for me. You know, always have it where you can have a market valuation. That means your company has a price on it.
Yes.
If you don't know what you're selling and you don't have a vision of what you want to look like, it's not sellable. Right. And that's number 2. Number 3, get ready to work hard. Some people start a business and they spend about 9 hours a week on it. And they're like, I don't know why I'm not selling anything. When you first start up, you're going to be 90, 100 hours. We give up 40 hours a week for 90 hours. But, and you've got to be able to articulate to employees what your vision is. And just going to be you doing it. Or we're going to get in the second part about employees, but it's going to be you doing it. It's nobody else. It's your money on the line, your reputation.
Right.
You can't pass this off on somebody else and just hope that they do it. All right. Another big problem I see is people go into business together. They're 50-50 partners, and one has more responsibility in the business than the other one. Now, if it's stated up front that one partner is just a financial person, they're just going to provide funding, no advice, no work. That's one thing. If you agree at the beginning, but sometimes one guy or girl, whatever, is the spender. They got the new truck in the car, and the other person's grinding out doing the work.
Right.
And it gets lopsided, and they get to where they hate each other.
Yeah, I can see that.
So be careful who you go into partnership with.
For sure. It's like a marriage, though.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And it's harder to get out of a business relationship than it is a marriage.
Yeah,
so
that's true. Yeah.
But we're going to come back with part 2. We'll get into some more details about leadership and my thoughts on it.
Sweet.
Right,
hey, I get a lot of calls from people that say, hey, I looked on Been Verified, Scope Now, Truth Finder, White Pages, all these different sites saying, hey, I found some information on a person, but when I followed up on it, it wasn't accurate. That's because those cheap and free services give you old information. That's the bottom line. We have a service where we give you the same information, but it's real time. You get bankruptcies, divorces, criminal record, if they're a sexual predator, where they live now, current phone numbers, email addresses, usernames, all these things you get in real time. We get this information by using a TLO database that's only available to private investigators, law enforcement, and federal agencies. So if you want real data now and talk to a real investigator now to get information that you need to move forward with your life, please give us a call, 866-910-7499, or you can click the link and fill out your information. That's 866-910-7499, or click the link and fill out your information. We want to help you with real-time data to help you move forward with your life.
All right, we're back here with part 2 on the thing. On the thing.
Hi.
Talking about business leadership and my take on it. All right.
Yes.
Anything from the first part, Victoria, you thought was interesting?
I think the key thing is that everyone thinks they can get rich fast, especially in today's world, and all these books and stuff that are like, you don't have to put much work in, and you can just sit on a beach somewhere and chill, and it'll still run perfectly. That's not happening in today's world.
It's not happening. So you got to, now there is freedom, for owning your own company. And I try to give my employees freedom too. Like, I don't expect you to be 8:30 to 5:30 grinding, sitting at your cubicle.
Yeah.
Now I do expect 8 hours of work though, don't I?
Yes.
So,
absolutely.
But I preach that a lot. So, and there's certain times you do sales. So there's certain times when you're going to get people on the phone. So there's common sense there.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of brings me to the point of employees. A lot of people, business owners, they say they put a lot of responsibility on employees that they're paying $10 an hour to.
Right.
All right. And everybody looks at Chick-fil-A, the Chick-fil-A model.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, we got this system where we got these high school kids, we're paying them $8 an hour and things run great. All right. Now that's making chicken sandwiches.
Correct.
All right. In what I call a technical company like we are, it's not going to happen. There's a lot of training goes into it. All right. You've been selling for about a half a year now, and there's still aspects on the criminal side and some of the digital stuff that you're like, you push it over to me to
for sure
consult with.
Yeah. I think I still have years of stuff to learn. It is just, it's an intensive
You're not
service.
you're not slapping some pickles in a chicken
correct
on a bun and put it in a bag.
And
right?
no disrespect to those people,
No,
but
that's
this
great.
is completely different type of work.
Now Chick-fil-A's got their thing going. I love them. I like a good chicken. The waffle fries are to die for. But anyway, they get their thing going. But if you're in a technical company where there's technical stuff going on, legal, any of those things, there's going to be more training than just, hey, here's how you get the bread out of the thing, put the chicken on the bun, and go out the door with it.
Right.
A little more complex, but it can work. I do give my employees a lot of responsibility. You've got responsibilities. I hold you accountable for things, right? And your pay reflects on how well you do as well.
It does. And I get paid decent.
How's January going?
The month of January is a little not great right now.
I told Victoria months ago, I said, January is going to stink. And she didn't want to believe it.
No.
But it's better than last year.
It's
better than last year's January.
Improvement. That's all we can ask for.
As a leader, you cannot delegate responsibility. What I mean by that, you can delegate task, but you can't delegate responsibility. If Victoria gets mad at one of our top law firms that gives us clients and cusses them out one day, she's going to get fired for it.
Yeah.
But I'm the overall responsible for that. I did not emphasize to her enough how important relationships were. And so that's my responsibility. I can't delegate that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now the task could be, hey, call this law firm or do customer service task. And she failed at that task. That's what got her in trouble. But overall, I'm responsible for that and making sure you're trained and well-rounded in that regard. Does that make sense?
It does. And I feel like you do. I mean, you want to hire people who you know is going to represent your name well. I know when I first started working for you, I was almost just scared to talk to people because I'm like, what if I say the wrong thing and they write a review? And it's like, and I'm learning, but I don't want to make you look bad. And I think you need people that understand that.
Now, you've seen it. We've had people that could care less about if our company fails or not. I pay weekly. And we would have employees, major screw ups, and they still had their hand out on Friday. Yeah. And I paid them. They didn't last long. Yeah. But most employees could care less if you make it or break it for the week. All right. Mm-hmm. And that's what I look at. I look at numbers every day to see if we're making it, and they could care less if you have to go out and borrow money to pay them. They don't care. Right. Now Victoria's a little different. I'm kind of training her up in the entrepreneurial way, so she looks at that. Yeah. But she also has the vision, saying, "Hey, this is going to be." She's seen the ups and downs and knows that the ups are going to be probably this week, you know, and
we always get it
massive, you know what I mean? But we'll be busy all of a sudden. We're busy now. It's just not like it was in December.
We want to be busy with. It's more background checking.
Wasn't like it was in November and December. You know? So, but anyways, it's coming. And I try to get that to my employees, even if it's an administrative assistant up to the investigators. Hey, this thing is bigger than this week. You know, we're going to have a great February and March probably. That typically happens just based off my experience. Yeah. And get people to realize and stick with me long enough to do that. Mm-hmm. And understand that their screw-ups have repercussions to the bottom line. They do. It may be an immediate bottom line issue where we're giving back money. Mm-hmm. Or it could be 1-2 years from now where we are not getting referrals from a certain person because they wanted to pitch a fit on them for whatever reason. Yeah, you know? Yeah. And we do have some difficult people we deal with.
We do. But we definitely do. And you do have to have a calm mind, but I think everyone loses their mind a little bit sometimes, you know.
Do it in private.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You can vent to me. How about that? Yes. I vent to Victoria sometimes.
Oh, like,
this person made me mad today. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the employees do not care. Most of them don't. And you got to, as a leader, it's your responsibility to train them on the vision and where their actions have repercussions on not just on them, but also the company as a whole. So,
I mean, in a small business, I mean, really, you as an employee should really care what you're doing is going to show the business next month. Either it's going to bring more growth or what you've done is going to bring deadness to the company. So like you really have to know like, hey, I have to do this to make it grow, you know?
Right. All right. Now the next part, we're going to get into a topic that I always like to bring up. It's the stats in the United States say that half of small businesses that start up will fail within the first 5 years.
Wow.
When I first started my company, I was like, man, that's hard to get past, you know. But then I got into business and working with other people in BNI and their networking group and all that. Mm-hmm. And I'm surprised it's not higher.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't realize it was that high, to be honest.
I'm surprised it's not 90%. But because I see people that say, okay, they go get their corporate documents or LLC and they're like, okay, I got a company, and they just sit around and do nothing.
Right. Expecting business to come.
Yeah. You got to market, you got to sell, you got to promote. It's a 24/7 thing. Right. And a lot of people don't have that commitment to it. Mm-hmm. So what I got to say to people is if you start a company, you better be committed, because my opinion, the number one reason why businesses fail is people just get tired. They're not committed to their cause.
And you're not the only one selling this. There's a bunch of competitors out here too, so you need to be on it.
Some good competitors too. Yeah, some I respect, you know. And we got some bad competitors that I don't even think about. Yeah, but we got some good ones that I'm like, what are they doing over here? And then I can actually call them and talk to them. You know, we got that kind of relationship. Yeah. But, and I think my attitude plays a huge role in how successful the company is. If I'm not with it, if I check out, then the company's not going to do well. Yeah. And that's where I think the 4-Hour Workweek book is
wrong.
The title's wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
People get this misconception that I can just check out, put all my responsibility on Victoria, and okay, you got it, Victoria.
If he did that, this company would be ran to the ground so fast. And I'm saying, like, as the owner of the company, you work twice, 3 times, put more hours into the week than anybody else does, any employee.
Yeah. So how this works is Victoria does 90% sales, and I'm training her on the operations some. Mm-hmm. All right. Now, and I spend a large part of my day on operations, reviewing cases, and Victoria you'd be lost at that side.
Oh yeah.
Wouldn't you?
I'd be big time lost. So.
That's why I can't check out. Now everybody's like, go hire an operations manager. I've had business consultants tell me that. Okay. I've tried that before. And it was a disaster.
Yeah.
I think an operations manager in my case is somebody that I work with for years and train for years. It's not just something where I can hire them, give them a handbook and say, okay, I'm going to the beach. Mm-hmm. I'm going to the mountains, you know, and I'm not going to talk to you for 3 months.
Yeah. And you've had multiple people in that position. That's a tough position. Mm-hmm. There's a lot to learn.
You got to use your brain, and you got to you got to be able to do math.
Mm-hmm. Which some people cannot do basic math.
So somebody pays us for 25 hours. We can't continue working a case for 60 hours and expect to make a profit. That's a big issue.
Yes.
People, and I've had operations managers that they wanted to check out. They just checked out on me and said, oh, things are running great. No, it's not. I can see.
It's an everyday thing.
I have it set up so I can look at my phone and tell how things are going.
Yeah.
I can say, this is the number. I have some key metrics I look at daily on operations, on hours worked, and I go in and look at the evidence gathered, sales numbers, those things. I can look at them. There's 3 key metrics I look at every day, and I can tell the health of our company by that. And I try to train the operations managers in that to be a total business person, and they just don't want to do it. So I'm doing it now. Back to operations. I got Majuziak. He's doing investigations, but I think he has that mold.
Yes.
He's old though.
That's good though. He said it in his ways, and if you like his ways, then that's perfect.
I told him today, I said, you could be a great operations manager if you don't die.
When he said that to you?
I'm not going to repeat what he said to me, but anyways, no, he's a good guy. He does great. But so, Victoria, that's my thoughts on business leadership. We'll do more on those. We'll
Good
get more.
thoughts.
I kind of did a broad sweep today. We'll get down in specifics on another one, but the next one we come back, we'll be back into the PI world.
Woo-hoo.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll see you soon.
Peace.
Bye.